Welcome to Powerviz. This is a step-by-step tutorial of the Sankey Chart visual by Powerviz. Let's explore how you can control the look, flow, and interactivity of your visual step by step. Let's add the Sankey Chart visual to our report page. Let's add the desired fields to our visual. We'll add brand, category, store, and the value. The Sankey chart visual is now created for us, but let's head over to the advanced settings and take a look at each and every option that is available here for you to customize. Under chart options, you have two different orientations. By default, you have horizontal orientation. You can also switch this to a vertical orientation. The next option that we have here is called highlight, and this is turned on by default. When you hover over the node or the links here, they get highlighted, and this is the feature that we're talking about here. And when you toggle this off and click on apply, you no longer have that highlight feature. The next option here lets you control the node width. If you want to increase the node width, let's say for example to 80 pixels, you can select that, and now you have a little larger node appearing here. And likewise, you can also control the roundness of that particular node. If I drop this down to 0 and click on apply, you now have a square node. The next option here is to remove null or blank nodes. If there are any null or blank values or nodes in your dataset, these can be removed by checking this option here. And the next option here is to freeze node. When you check this box, what basically happens is that you will not be able to move these nodes. But when you uncheck this freeze node here and click on apply, you will be able to move them around and place it at your desired location. The next option here is to enable the collapse or expand node on click. When I check this box and click on apply, and now when I click on these nodes, you will see that these nodes are getting collapsed, and when I click on them back again, I'll be able to expand them. The next option that we have here is to control the styling of the node. The first option under style is the node border. If you don't want the border to appear, you can simply turn this off and click on apply. You no longer have a border appearing on your node. Likewise, when you turn this on, you can control the color of the border. Let's say if you want a black border, you can apply that right from here, and also control the width of that particular border and click on apply. You can now see a black border has been applied to your node. You can also control the horizontal node padding and the vertical node padding. For example, if I increase this to about 20 and click on apply, you see that the padding between these two nodes has now increased to 20 pixels. In the next option here, you can control the node background opacity. Right now it's set to about 100%. When I drop this to about 44 and click on apply, you can see that we've now dropped the opacity of these nodes. Likewise, we also have an option here to control the opacity of the links. When I increase this to about 89% and click on apply, you can see that they're now appearing darker on our visual. Now let's head to our next section here, which is data colors. This is a pretty interesting one wherein you'll be able to control the data colors by node as well as by the link. Now let's go back into node here. We have various color palettes under node. You can apply your Power BI theme as well, or if you want a single color to be applied, you can apply that as well. And the next option here that we have here is to apply the nodes by category. You can select a particular color for a particular brand or a category or a store that you have selected in your data set. The level of customization this particular visual offers is truly amazing. And we have option here to select a gradient as well. You can apply a gradient as well, and there are various color options like sequential color palettes here that you can choose from. And then we also have diverging color palettes. For example, if I choose Hiroshige and click on apply, we now have this particular sequential color palette applied to our visual, and there is qualitative color palette as well as by node level. You can choose a color here of your choice. Like you can control the colors here by the node, you can also control the colors of the link. By default, same as node is turned on here. If you turn this off, you get the various color options again here to choose from. For example, I can choose blue to green here, and the link colors have now been changed from blue to green. Now let's head to the next section here, which is data labels. We have two different kinds of data labels here. The first data label that we have here, let me turn this off and click on apply. You can see that these nodes basically have their labels here. When I toggle this on and click on apply, you can see that category and the value against them. And let's go back to the data labels here. You can control the display type here. You can either choose to just display the category or the data value or percentage of total, Or you can also choose to display all labels here and click on apply. You'll now be able to see the category, the value, as well as the percentage. And if you are not satisfied with this, you also have an option here to add your own custom label, wherein you can create your own measure and add this particular custom label into this particular custom label section here, and you'll be able to add a custom label of your own. You can also control the position of these nodes. If you want to place them inside the nodes, you can do that by simply selecting inside here. And then we have various other options here, like your horizontal alignment. You can either choose to align them left, default, or right. Vertical alignment, you can control your styling, bold, auto text size, font color, wrap label. If you want to wrap label here, you can do that as well. That's a nice little feature to have. We also have the max character limit here. If you want to limit the label here to a particular character limit, you can do that as well. We can also enable background and choose a background color of your choice. Now let's head to the next section here, which is the image section. You can add images to your nodes here. I have a field here wherein I have my images saved. I'm going to bring my category image here into the images section that I have here, and you will see that by default all of the images have been added into my category nodes. And let's go back into images here, and you can see that apply nodes on all nodes or by node level. You can choose how you want these particular nodes to appear. For example, I want to apply this by node. For category 1 or for category 2, I'm going to select first category image and then click on apply. And you can see that we are now able to display the images here only under the category and not under the other nodes. Now let's add the other images as well. I have items image in my images section, and then I also have the store image. I'm going to bring that into my images section. I've removed the brand field and replaced that with items. Now let's go back into images. In my first category here, let me select first items image, and in my category 3 here, I'm going to select the store image and then click on apply. And now you can see that we have all of the items images being displayed here under my item node. The online store node gets an image here representing an online store. You can also control how you place these particular images. You can either choose to display them inside the node or outside the node. When I select outside the node here, all of these images will appear outside, and then you can also control the labels here, how you want to display them. Maybe you want to shift the labels to inside of the node. For now, let me select inside, and you can also control the horizontal alignment and vertical alignment and also the size of that particular image. Let me click on apply. You can also increase the size of these images here. Simply go back and let's select about 30 pixels here and click on apply. You now have a slightly larger images being displayed in your node. Now let's head to the next section here, which is fill patterns, and let's enable this and click on apply. And you can see that we've now added various patterns into our nodes. You can control these fill patterns by node level or by category. For a particular category, you can select a fill pattern here of your choice. For example, let me select by node level. For level 1, I can display circles. For level 2, I have squares, rectangle, star, heart, diamond. There are various options here for you to choose from. Or you can also upload a custom fill pattern of your own choice. Now let's head to the next section here, which is ranking. You can rank them and display only a certain number of nodes as an example. For example, in my items here, I have a lot of items being displayed. I can turn this on and I can choose to only display top 5 items, and the remaining can be grouped as others. And let me click on apply, and you can see that my top 5 items here are being displayed and the remaining items have been grouped as others. And if you don't want to group them as others, you can simply toggle this off, click on apply. You now have only the 5 top items being displayed in your visual. Let's go back to ranking and enable show remaining as others. You can also add a suffix here, others plus category name, others plus count, or if you want to add, you can add both as well. And you can also choose how you want to display the value here. You can either sum or average. Like we filtered for top n, you also have an option here to display the bottom n items. When I click on apply here, I'm able to now see the bottom 5 items in my dataset. And we can apply the ranking either by items or category or store, completely based on your needs and requirements. Now let's head to the next section here, which is sorting. And I have option here to choose how I want to sort the data here. I can either choose to sort by category or by store, value, or items. Let's select category here, and you can choose the sort order, either ascending or descending, and then click on apply. You now have the data sorted by category. Now let's head to the next section, which is conditional formatting. In the conditional formatting, you'll be able to highlight outliers or maybe a particular data point. You can apply conditional formatting either on a node or a link or even both. You can apply the conditional formatting to a measure or a category. Let's choose measure as an example and let's select the type here as category. And if my value is greater than 200, I want this to be highlighted in red and the text color needs to be in white. I'm going to click on save, click on close, and now any category that is greater than 200 will now be highlighted in red. Now let's head to the next section here, which is templates. When you enable templates here, there are various templates here for you to choose from. Let us say, for example, you like this particular template that we have here. Simply click on apply. That particular template will get applied with all the colors, with formatting options. All of that will get applied to your particular visual. And if you don't like them, simply go ahead and explore the other options that we have. If you like a darker shade, you can select them and click on apply. You now have a different template applied to your particular visual. Now let's head to the next section here, which is import or export. Let us say that you've spent a lot of time in setting up your Sankey chart based on your brand, colors, etc. You can simply go ahead into the export section. Either export this as a JSON file or copy this particular piece of code here. When you go to the import section, you have an option here to paste the JSON code and then click on import. You'll be able to import this particular Sankey chart. Now we also have an option here where you can take a look at the data in a tabular format. You'll be able to see all the data points that we have added into our visual in a tabular format. You can also apply filters here. Let us say if you want to take a look at only a particular categories or items, you can do that right from here. We also have an option here to create annotations. When you click on annotate, select create, you can add an annotation here based on a particular data point. When I click on create here and select the data point, you'll be able to add additional details here. For example, I'll just type in this is sample annotation. And there are various options here where you can choose the different connectors, you can choose the font size, text, background, etc. and then click on apply. You'll now be able to see this particular icon here. When you hover over this particular icon, you'll be able to see the annotation. This is really cool, especially if you want to highlight any dips or highs or increase in your data points. And there are some additional options that are available here. When we head to the format tab here of this particular visual, you'll be able to add a footer. When you turn this on, you'll be able to add some additional information in here. You can add a text, you can add a web URL, you can also add a divider here if you would like to. You can choose the divider color, the thickness, text color, font size, etc. We can also add in a legend here if required. When you turn this on, you'll be able to see the legend here. You can choose the position of the legend, you can choose the legend title, color, font size, font family, etc. With this, we've come towards the end of this tutorial. You can download the 30-day free trial of the Sankey chart visual either from the Microsoft App Store or our website powerviz.ai.